I cackled. If I was being completely honest with myself, it wasn't one of my best cackles, but it would suffice for the conversation. Walkman, you just don't get it, do you? I said, sneering down at my nemesis. This isn't a story. There's no overarching plot or destiny. This is life. And what exactly have I done to earn the title of villain? Walkman struggled beneath my boot, powerless without his headphones that I held in my hand. With a heroic effort, Walkman grunted out his reply. You kill! I made an overly dramatic gasp, bringing my hands to my mouth in mock surprise. Walkman! After everything I've done for you, I can't believe you would say such a thing. Walkman glanced at the dead security guard next to us. I mean, it's true, I quickly amended, but I've done loads of good too. I built and fund a free mental health clinic. I employ hundreds of people in my Fortress of Doomitude. I organize city improvement projects. By blowing up potholes? Walkman interjected, raising my foot slightly with a great effort. Yes, glad you noticed, I said, beaming with pride. It helps remove the sinking foundation as well as the broken surface layer. I actually published a paper about... I felt the blow before I heard the music. Walkman must have activated some sort of backup speaker system, one immune to my EMP blast that had brought him down just moments ago. The song swelled as Walkman stood, brushing rubble and debris from his jacket. You know, Doctor, Walkman said, speaking louder to hear himself over the song. For someone who doesn't believe in the hero-villain roles, you sure do like to monologue. I smiled. It's one of my greatest strengths. Just like this! I activated my robotic arms, firing laser blasts at random all around me. The blast didn't hit anything important, seeing as the stock exchange around us had already been destroyed. Walkman dove into cover, avoiding any of the blasts that may have come his way. I had made sure none would after I had accidentally killed him with my lasers once already. And that chunk of the moon, I suppose. In my defense, it was one of the least important hemispheres that I had annihilated. Walkman shouted from behind the rubble of the giant stock exchange screen. This is exactly what a villain would do. I cackled, much more impressively this time. And I suppose a villain would now call in his minions and make an overly complicated escape? Well, yeah, actually, Walkman said. I smiled. Then prepare to face my minion! I keyed a series of commands into my built-in earcom and summoned one member of the Doom Squad. Steven stepped into the ruined building. Hi, Dad, he said. Steven? Walkman said, poking his head over the cover of rubble. What are you... Steven took a step forwards, placing himself between his superhero father and I. I'm protecting my boss, Dad, he said. Technically, he is my godfather, and you did die, so... Walkman stood, heedless of any danger. I walked out of the ruins, leaving the two of them to catch up as I made my admittedly villainous escape to my Doom Squad and the awaiting helicopter. As we lifted off the ground, I could see Walkman passionately arguing with his son. I grabbed the megaphone from the wall mount, which I realized was also pretty villainous of me. Make sure you drop him off at the Fortress of Doomitude before dinner! I shouted into the device, cackling as we left the scene. This villain was going to live, while that hero had already perished once. Dad, the Doom Squad is actually really nice, I said to Walkman. Everyone is really helpful and accepting. There's... Walkman stepped down from the rubble of the stock exchange. Collateral damage from his latest fight with Dr. Doomsday, also known as my boss. "Steven," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder. His fingerless fighting gloves made a soft clunk against my Doom Squad uniform's armored shoulder. "I love you, but you're working with a monster." I took a step back, shrugging his hand off of me. "How can you say that?" I said. "Dr. Doomsday built a free clinic. He helps people with nowhere else to turn. He saved orphans from an abusive..." I tapered off at that last reference, remembering this was the incident that actually killed Walkman. "And I joined him in order to save you," I finished, my small monologue not quite hitting the right emotional points I had meant to. I wasn't as good as emotional speeches as my dad or boss. "My son, what you did was heroic," Walkman said, taking a small step towards me. "You sacrificed yourself to resurrect me. I gave life to you and you returned the favor. And I will always be grateful for that. But Dr. Doomsday is my godfather," I said, interrupting his rebuttal. "And you appointed him as such. And then you died. So, technically, he still has legal custody of me." Walkman froze, his outreached hand evolving from a comforting hand to a closed fist. "I only did that to meet me," I finished for him, "because Doomsday tracked me down before you even knew I existed." This was turning dark. And fast. I tried to change the subject before this came to blows. "I did some testing with the equipment at the Fortress of Doomitude with some of my new friends," I said, like a child telling his dad what he did at school that day. "And I discovered I have a superpower, just like you," Walkman gasped. "Like... me? With songs?" "No, not like you," I said. "Like Mom." Walkman was somehow able to drop to an even further level of shock. "Your mother. She has powers?" I sighed. "You really don't know a lot about your family, do you?" Dr. Doomsday did all of that research into me and Mom. And you couldn't even be bothered to make a phone call. Even after you met me, you never even ask about her. Walkman's hidden speaker began to softly play. It's complicated, son," he said, choking back a tear. "Your mom and I held up a hand, prompting silence from the musical hero. "She didn't like to talk about it either. So maybe you shouldn't tell me anything right now, and tell her instead." I removed my prepaid cell phone from my pocket and tossed it to my father. I realized that this was the first time we had ever played catch. Walkman snatched the phone from midair, glancing back at me after a quick inspection of the device. "Is this..." "Her number is the second saved contact," I said, "under Matilda, in case you forgot her name." Walkman glanced at the phone again. I answered his unasked question. "I bought that from a store. It's not one of Dr. Doomsday's schemes." Walkman slipped the phone into a pocket. I heard the soft click of plastic hitting plastic as it settled beside one of his many MP3 players. He reached out to me once more. "Son, join me. I can teach you how to be a hero. You can be my sidekick while..." I shook my head, stopping in mid-sentence. "You don't even know my power. And besides, I have friends in the Doom Squad. Mentors, underlings, Stacy." "Stacy?" Walkman asked. "She's my girlfriend," Steve said. "She's got powers too. Deals with emotions. Dr. Doomsday took her in after her parents kicked her out. He helped just like he helps everyone in his squad. I took one step towards Walkman, crunching debris underfoot as I did. Who was the last person you helped? That unlucky guy from the bank that you tortured? He's being helped in the Doom Squad now. That government man you refused to help when you were retired? That eagle that you turned away? Walkman did something that I'd never seen a hero do before. He started to cry. I'm doing my best, Steve. But sometimes my best isn't enough, he said, tears rolling gently down his face. I retired to raise you, so I couldn't help all those others. I can't help everyone at once. And you don't have to, I said. Your greatest failure is trying to do it all. You need a team. People to help you and who you can help. Walkman looked confused. If you would be my sidekick, we can... No, Dad. I don't want to join you, I said. I want to recruit you. Son, what? I want you to join the Doom Squad, I said, finally getting to the point. I pulled an elaborate envelope from my Doom Squad uniform and extended it to my dad. I am formally extending an invitation on behalf of Dr. Doomsday. This offer does not have an end date. Think about it. My father took the envelope with a trembling hand. The other contact as your new phone is Dr. Doomsday's direct number. If you accept, you can call him directly, I said and turned to leave. My boy, I love you, Walkman said as I walked out of the rubble. I didn't even reply. I wasn't the person he needed to talk to. Not even the second person. The first was a woman named Matilda. The second was my godfather, employer, and mentor.